The purpose of this video clip is to introduce you to a revolutionary new master sizing device invented by Theo Nguyen. Theo, like many goldsmiths across the country, was saddled with the old sizing block. Today, on the market and available to you, is a revolutionary new sizing tool. The multi-purpose features of this block make it a valuable asset to any goldsmith. It is very simple for a goldsmith to choose accurate sizes, mark the ring, and then place the ring against the two black rubber posts for sizing. Notice that as he cuts, there's no chance of him cutting his finger, and his thumb is in a comfortable, relaxed position. Notice that the two rubber posts are angled forward, so any thickness of ring shank can be locked in place. When sawing, it will not move up and down, and the jeweler's hand is safe from injury. Using this device, it is possible for a goldsmith to size many pieces of jewelry in a short period of time. With a ring with a smaller shank, it is possible to use the screw-down device. Simply place the ring into the device and tighten it down. Once the ring has been secured, it is possible for the jeweler to make precise cuts with little danger to himself and a guarantee that his cut will be made properly. Use the front slot for cutting sizing stock. Simply place the sizing stock into the vise after you have marked its proper size. When you make a cut, the cut will be made precisely and safely, and your piece will be able to remove a perfect size. If you need to clean up the edge of a sizing stock, simply place it in the front slot and hold it in place safely while you work on it with your file. In order to clean up work that has been done on a ring, simply place your ring on your mandrel and use the pin on the front of the device in order to hold it in place while you file it. In order to saw shapes out of a flat sheet, simply use the middle slot. Place your flat sheet on your tool, and by putting your saw in, you're able to move it around and able to make a precise cut and any type of a shape that you're interested in making for the jewelry. The master sizing vise can also be purchased with a filing block. In order to file your ring, simply place it against the rubber post, and holding it in place, you can file without wearing down the block or causing injury to yourself. Both the master sizing device and the master filing block are now available through Theo Nguyen. You can contact Theo by either emailing him at the address displayed on the screen or by contacting him at 920-233-9006. This is an example of how to downsize a ring using the master sizing vise. To begin the process, place your ring on the mandrel to establish its current size. Once you are sure of the changes that need to be made, use your divider and the measuring gauge located on the top of the master sizing vise to establish the proper gap that needs to be cut. Then simply mark your ring with your divider so that you have marks to cut on. Once you have marked your ring, place your ring into the master sizing vise. Notice that he places his finger safely behind the ring and out of the way of the saw blade, preventing any injury to himself. Once you have completed your first cut, simply move your ring over to cut on the second mark in order to complete the gap necessary to properly size this ring. Notice that while he is completing the cut on this ring, his finger is safely behind the ring and the saw blade moves up and down in order to protect his hands. Once the cut is complete and the gap has been created, simply take a tool and bend the shank together. While bringing the shank together will establish a pretty close fit, it is still necessary to place the ring in the locking part of the master sizing vise in order to make a third cut. The third cut assures that you will have a tight fit when your ring is soldered. Once your third cut is completed, simply form the ring in order to assure that the parts of the shank are touching each other. You've now established a tight fit and your ring is sized properly. The only thing left to do is to solder the ring and polish it. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to use the master sizing vise to upsize a ring. The particular ring in this video is a size 7 and needs to be 8 3/4. Once you have established that all your measurements are correct, begin your process by making an initial cut into the ring shank. Once you have cut your ring, place it back onto the mandrel and twist it around the mandrel until you've reached the appropriate size. Take a divider and measure the difference between the two parts of the shank. You now use your divider to mark the gold stock. The marks you're making in the gold stock will give you a piece of gold that is the exact size to complete the sizing task for this ring. Place the gold bar against the front of the master sizing vise and pre-cut it until you are almost through. When your gold bar is almost cut through, slip it into the front slot and complete the cutting task. This will give you an accurately cut piece of gold which will fill your ring to exactly the correct size. You now bend one side of the ring slightly up so that it's easy for you to work on as you place in the piece of gold stock that you have cut. You now solder the gold stock to one side of the shank. Once you've attached your gold stock to one side of the ring, place your ring back onto the mandrel and use your rawhide hammer in order to form the ring to the proper shape. You now bring the edges of the ring together as close as possible. In order to make sure that we have the cleanest contact surface as possible, the ring is now placed into the locking vise and locked down. We now make a cut on the exact spot where the open space exists in order to make sure the edges are smooth and to provide for a much tighter fit. You may now solder the gap to complete your sizing project. Now that your ring is the proper size, place it back on the mandrel and use your rawhide hammer to assure that it is formed up properly. Clean the inside of your ring and then once again put your ring onto your mandrel. Your mandrel is used in conjunction with the front pin on your master sizing vise to hold the ring in place as you complete your filing and sanding functions. To complete the process, place your ring against the master filing block and clean off the edges on both sides of the ring. The sizing of this ring is now complete. Notice the excellent condition of this master sizing vise, despite the fact that at the time of this filming, over 2,000 rings have been sized using this very block. These rings were all sized within a period of 2 hours. The master sizing vise makes the job of a goldsmith easier. It saves you time and it will save you money. To order your master sizing vise today, write us at sony@mastersizingvise.com or call us at 920-233-9006.